What about the installation part?
I don't know where I want to go to college. I'm thinking Franklin, and I want to.
So one time I've been to California.
Hey,
twice,
good
drove
evening,
one.
everyone. It is 6 PM, Monday, August the 17th, 2026. It's time to call the Franklin City Council meeting to order. Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Shuck?
Here.
Ms. McGinnis? Ms. Nally?
Here.
Ms. Price?
Here.
Mr. Prine?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Brian Reese.
All right, I invite you to join me in prayer. Our Father, we come before you this evening and thank you for another opportunity to be here, those who serve on the city council and in advisory roles, and then also us, citizens and residents of the city, to be here tonight. And pray that you be with the items on the agenda. Just lead and guide and give direction and discernment for the budget for next year. Just pray that you would just meet all the needs that we have here in the city for both now and preparation for future needs and projects. Thank you tonight for all our first responders, our military, and those who just keep us free and safe here. Thank you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. I invite you to stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, sir. Is there any announcements or public comment that does not relate to the agenda? Seeing none, we will close that portion and go on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the meeting minutes from the August 3rd City Council meeting as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
If there isn't any old business, we'll go right into new business.
Move to read new business by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Read new business by title only. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. First item, annual presentation of the tax impact of the redevelopment commission to other taxing units. Mr. Jeff Peters.
Thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Included in your packet is this presentation similar to previous years. You do maintain TIF allocation areas within Franklin Township and Needham Township. The first one in the Franklin Township area. Kind of in the middle column, 2026 TIF AV is about $111 million. So within Franklin Township's portion of the city of Franklin in the allocation area, you have captured about $111 million of incremental or increased assessed value from the base amounts when you establish these allocation areas. So the exercise that we go through here is to show the impact of what it would look like if you were to give back that assessed value to the tax base. A lot of times you'll have opponents to TIF say, oh, you know, I don't want you collecting that money from the school and the library and the county. I want all that to go back to those units of government. But what they fail to understand is that the amount that would go back to those units of government would not be a dollar for dollar transaction, would not be anywhere close to it. And what we'll show in here and get to the end is you collect about $7.2 million in 2026 for TIF allocations funds to do your various economic and redevelopment projects with. But the impact to the units of government, if you gave all of this back, would only be about $500,000. So why would you not go ahead and collect those funds and do beneficial projects that helps grow the pie for all the underlying units of government? Because a TIF is the only mechanism that you have where you can get that contribution from all of those units of government and only cost them that small amount of $500,000 to generate over $7 million. But for the particulars for this, if in the example of Franklin Township, if you were to give back that $111 million, the tax rate for 2026 is in that third column, 2.5327. Most of that is made up of maximum levy funds, and I'm sure you're going to be talking about budget later, but as you realize, the maximum levy is a finite dollar amount, and that is the majority of everybody's levies. And that's one of the reasons that you don't have this dollar for dollar give back, because almost all the property taxes levied are controlled under that maximum levy, which is generated by a statutory formula and produces a finite dollar amount. The other amount of levies used for debt service funds are minimized so that you only levy enough taxes to provide for the next principal and interest payments that's due. So you minimize those levies. The third set of levies that come out are rate-driven funds, and they're included in that fourth column, 2026 rate-driven funds. They're about 7.34 cents of the total $2.50 tax rate. And those are made up of cumulative capital development fund for the county and the city. If you had townships or some other special districts, sometimes they have cumulative funds as well that are driven by the rate. So those rate-driven funds will actually produce more money if you give back that $111 million, and we'll address that down below. But in this scenario, if you gave back the $111 million, your rate would fall from 2.5327 to the far right-hand side to 2.4335. If you do that, one of the results is fewer properties would qualify for the 1%, 2%, and 3% tax caps. Therefore, you would have less circuit breaker loss, and everybody would net collect more property tax dollars. So if you could, scroll down to the middle section. So, about right there. So the reduction in circuit breaker that we've estimated, if you had that big of a swing in property tax base, it would produce about $133,794 of, or less, of circuit breaker loss. That gets allocated to all those underlying units of government based on their proportionate share of the property tax levy. So the county would net collect property taxes more by about $16,844, the city about $54,140, and the school about $58,370, and the library about $3,411. Bottom section addresses those fixed rate property tax funds. So as you'll be looking at in your budget here shortly, the City of Franklin has a cumulative capital development fund based on a fixed rate. Every time we levy a dollar of property tax, we have other taxes that piggyback on top of that. One is the vehicle excise tax, one is commercial vehicle excise tax. So we all know when we go to the license branch, we have to tell them where it is that we live. That is intentional for those funds that you pay in, for part of that to come back to this taxing district and provide funds for the units of government that provide you service. So in the example of the City of Franklin, if the $111 million was given back to the tax base and the fixed rate applied to it, property tax would increase approximately $44,684. Those piggyback taxes would be about $4,022 for a total of $48,706. The other relevant cum fund within this taxing district is the county. The county also has a cumulative capital development fund just like yours, and it would produce about $40,000. So the total impact for circuit breaker and property taxes would be about $222,946. And if you would go to the next page. So in Needham Township, you collect about $200 million in TIF-AV in that center section. If you were to release it back, the rate would fall from 2.5327 to approximately 2.3546. And if you scroll down, Circuit breaker adjustment would be estimated at $123,439, with the allocation to the different units of government as shown there. And then at the very bottom, total impact for this $200 million on the Needham area would be approximately $283,491. So if you'd scroll down, next page, combined all in, you'll see Johnson County at about 145,000, the city at about 240, school at about 112. Total all-in impact for all these units of government, 506,437. The remaining pages are just what I walked you through there, so that these documents, we try and make them that if you get the question throughout the year where a unit of government or taxpayer calls and says, what is the impact of your redevelopment commission and your TIF allocation areas on our finances? You can just hand deliver this to them. Therefore, they've got commentary that they can walk through that and see it. And again, the last paragraph is the one I led you off with, which is you're producing about $7.2 million a year in TIF money, and the impact, if you give it all back, is only about $500,000. So again, if we're undertaking projects that continue to develop the pie, why wouldn't you do that in order to grow the pie for all? And if you go back and you look at these reports as we've done them for the last several years, you'll constantly see that TIF assessed value continuing to grow and grow and grow. It's like growing a forest. You've put out all these fertile things in streets, roads, sewers, utilities, incentives that you've provided, and all these trees just continue to grow around you and produce all this money for you to do additional projects and grow everything bigger and bigger and bigger. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Jeff, why wouldn't other communities take advantage of TIF? Wouldn't every municipality in the state of Indiana benefit from what you just described?
If they have those opportunities. Geographically, where you sit as a suburb of Indianapolis with I-65, you have a lot more opportunities for growth than many communities. And we work with cities, towns, counties, et cetera, throughout the state, and a lot of real rural places. They would love to have a Walmart or anything that they could cap, a Burger King, but they're not going to get any of those things because they're just not big enough.
Fascinating stuff. Like I said, I always have to read it about 3 times to digest it, but I appreciate it. It really
Yeah,
helps.
it's neat,
Really
all the
helps.
stuff that, you guys have developed, and to see what comes in, and
Very much so.
Really helps. Thank you.
thank you.
Is there a point where that is not advantageous for us? That as far as us growing and expanding? Or does that continue?
If you were geographically landlocked, you had developed every piece of infrastructure that you needed, including roads and streets, and you had nothing else to spend on, yes. But I've not experienced that, because outside of Marion County, everybody else has the ability to annex and grow further out, and typically do.
Interesting.
Jeff, I have a comment. I don't really have a question. We hear all the time about tax abatements. And as I sit here and listen to the advantage that we have with our TIF, that's usually businesses that get tax abatements and spend millions of dollars to come here and open a business and supply jobs. And we hear from our taxpayers, our residents, that we shouldn't give tax abatements. And I agree to somewhat they need to be justified, and I think we do a good job at justifying that. But my whole point is the TIF is what is paid for all of our, from the interstate all the way out to the hospital. They paid for North Main Street, South Main Street, the truck route, all those roundabouts that we did was paid for out of the TIF from businesses that also get a tax abatement. And people don't realize the tax abatement is not 100% tax-free. It's phased in And that's how we're able to do all this work. It's, these roads improvements that I've just mentioned was not from our everyday residential taxpayer. It all come from the TIF. And I think it was prudent for us to finally get that out there that way, because I tried to tell that one-on-one to people, and they look like they don't understand what I'm saying. So, like, we kind of look at you like we don't understand everything you're saying, but I think that's pretty good eye-opener of the difference in the revenue. Now, if you can just go
To the legislature.
to the legislators and school them, because I'm pretty confident that they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to TIF.
Well, they think you waste it all,
Yeah,
just like they think everything's wasted.
yeah, and we did.
Yet they don't serve in local government, so.
Yeah,
But on your comment about tax abatement, you know, that's perfectly true. The other part to that is if you don't give tax abatement, it may go somewhere else. And it may not be just Whiteland or Greenwood. It might go to Kentucky or Georgia or some other place. So if you want to have that incremental assessed value, and like you say, that abatement rolls off, so then it comes onto your tax rolls. And these TIFs expire over time. As they expire off, the industrial base and commercial base that's left there will help everybody by helping support the taxes that pay for the operations. And the tax base will continue to be high or rising as that happens over time, which, as we go into some of these new legislative changes, you know, we may be seeing property tax rate caps for cities, towns, counties. It'll be vital that you have enough assessed value to be able to implement enough property tax under your fixed rate cap to operate your city and your services at the level that you need.
Jeff, can you, I don't know how to say this, and I don't know if I'm going to say it properly or not, but will the SB 1 in 2028 at the state, is it SB 1? SB 1. We're hearing that that is going to affect monies that we'll be getting in the future. Is that going to affect tax abatements and how that is approached? Is that going to be changing along with this SB 1 moving forward in 28 and beyond?
I've not seen any legislative changes on the tax abatement side, but you'll need to be aware of it based on what you want to give versus potentially what your losses may be in property taxes based on the SB 1. And like I say, the bigger one that scares me is the one they haven't done yet.
That they're
You
proposing.
know, Representative Thompson has said over and over again that he has the votes, he's going to fix tax rates for each unit of government, and the total of all together are going to be $3. So how much of that is going to be allotted for a city or a town versus a county versus a school versus a township versus a special taxing district? He says we'll have legislation in January that have those rates, but he said this will just be the first volley for them to start to discuss. You know, the only thing they've coalesced around is fire and EMS. They believe that rate should be 40 cents on the property tax dollar, and it includes all their debt funds and all their cum fund. So, you know, my follow-up question to him was, okay, can you give me any idea on a city or town or a county? And as we're talking about that, what about a city that provides fire but not EMS?
Yeah.
Or doesn't provide either, or provides both? What are those rates going to be? And, you know, we have counties that have countywide EMS. So what's that going to look like? Of course, I get the blank stare, and in January, you'll see some legislation that starts to address that.
What if we go away from property tax assessments? That's, I mean, that would really change
Well,
the whole
you know,
formula.
this is a big push. Again, to me, this is the second coming of property tax caps. They're pushing us away from property taxes onto income taxes. The legislature gave a whole slew of income tax solutions. SB 1 is the same thing. Between now and 2031, they're going to take away a bunch of property tax, and they're going to move us more toward income taxes. They could completely move us to income taxes, but those would probably be some pretty salty income tax rates.
Stay tuned.
Thanks for your response. That was quite lengthy, but yeah.
Wasn't what you wanted to hear, but.
Well,
yeah.
no, it's going to be affected, I think, and there's a lot more unanswered questions that we have that's moving forward past 28, obviously, but.
Yeah, and the one good thing that I'm encouraged is, 15 years ago when they did tax caps, they gave multiple income tax solutions, and they evolved those income tax solutions as people ran out of money going forward. So I think that's what you will get, more and more options, but they're all going to be on the income tax side. Which again, I know you guys have looked at housing stuff. Trying to build as much housing as you can to get people here, because your income taxes are going to be generated either off of people that live in Johnson County or people that live inside the city of Franklin, depending on which lit allocation model you opt into. So it's going to be really important going forward to build not only a property tax base, but an income tax base. So you'll want to add lots and lots of people.
Interesting.
May not want to hear that one either, but it's a math problem, and yeah, that's the solution based on the way that they're going.
And I just want to say to the council, having Jeff, and I know Jeff, I think you've been our person for 15 years or so. I feel very confident, and I want the council to, and our citizens to feel confident that we're gonna get through this and be just fine when the new tax laws take effect, and not be begging people for money to survive. We will be just fine.
Yeah, there's always that solution, and it's just, coming up with the best solution to achieve the goals that you want at that point in time. And then one of the things that you always do is maintain this fiscal plan where you look out into the future. So we'll have a lead time where we can go back to the legislature and say, yeah, we're going to need to tweak this. If this is the way you want to go, these are the things that are going to happen for us to continue to operate and serve our people at the level that they want.
Jeff, you've always been kind and honest, and we appreciate your efforts. Believe me, your leadership has been amazing, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mayor's Youth Council?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jeff. All right, that gets us to item number 2, approval of interlocal agreement with Fund Franklin Union Needham Township to provide funding for the purchase of equipment, fire rescue equipment. City Attorney Lynn Gray.
Well, never fear, Mayor, I'm going to bring you $5,000. What this is I was contacted by our fire chief, who then was, and it was also contacted by the Franklin Township trustee. And as you know, the city has an agreement, an interlocal agreement with the Franklin Township trustee to provide fire service in their district outside of our area. And so they often, in addition to paying for that, if there are needs within the fire department, they will choose one and volunteer to pay for that. And this one is $5,124 for us to purchase 20 Knox boxes, which are those boxes that are placed on generally businesses, I believe, if Chief is here, so that in the hopefully unlikely event that something occurs in the middle of the night or when someone is not there, they are able to access that building, much like you would have with realtors' boxes and things like that, and only we can access it. So this would be the purchase of 20 Knox boxes. Those would be our Knox boxes, but they would be funded by Needham Township, or Fund Township, I'm sorry. Just needs your approval. And it was approved tonight by the Board of Works.
Okay, any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Fund Township to provide funding for the purchase of the equipment as Lynn had presented.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item number 3. Thank you to the Franklin Union Needham Township for providing that. Okay, item number 3, the ERA and tax abatement request, Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Yes, good evening. The City of Franklin's Economic Development Commission met last week and reviewed a request for an economic revitalization area designation and a real property tax abatement from Franklin Tech Park LLC developer Todd Katz at their meeting last week. This property in question, this project in question, is on the southwest corner of Forest Drive and State Road 44. It is 5 acres of land. It's vacant land currently. Mr. Katz has purchased that and has plans to develop a 50,000 square foot flex space building. It can be multi-tenant, it can be one user, it could be up to 8 users if it's a bunch of small spots, which is something that we actually do not have in the city right now. We hear a lot of interest, a lot of requests for that size, the smaller size, 10,000, 15,000 square foot spaces. That property is not in an ERA, an economic revitalization area, which is required by the state. So in order for us to proceed with considering a tax abatement for this, we first need to establish an ERA at that site. So that is why we are here this evening. We would like to ask your favor for the resolution that will be the declaratory. If that is approved this evening, I will have a public notice run, and then at your next meeting, September 8th, I believe is right, you will have a public hearing for the confirmatory of the ERA, and that is also when we will discuss the tax abatement. If you have any questions, David Gilman is here this evening representing Franklin Tech Park LLC. Otherwise, we'll wait on your decision.
Okay. Guys, Sean, do you want to?
No, I mean, it was it's like Dana was talking about, it's a great project for the city. Right now, we don't have anything that kind of fits that mode, and be able to break it down from, a 5,000 square foot to a 10,000 square foot wouldn't, and they will have, bays in the back that you can do, and that they can go through with big trucks, little trucks, so each one will have its own dock, so they can break it down, so it could be anything from, a sports place to to just a warehouse, for heating and cooling. So there's thousands of options with the way that is. So, and with it being right there by the interstate, we thought it would be a good project for the city.
Okay, so tonight we just introduced this, correct? Is that?
No, we vote on the.
It's for the ERA.
The ERA.
ERA,
Yeah, we
okay.
have to designate an ERA before we can consider a tax abatement.
Okay.
It is greatly needed.
It is. Agreed.
Where's the nearest ERA? I mean, there's got to be
Just
all
south
in
of
that
there.
area. Aren't
It
they
is
all
just
in
south
that
of there
area?
at Ishan. This was not, both of these parcels were owned by, there's 2 parcels there were owned by separate owners, and they were just never put in
Never
when
put
we
in.
did the Tech Parks
'Cause
ERA.
When I saw it, I thought, surely there's an ERA there.
It's
Okay.
Ishan, right there.
Yeah.
It's just these 2 parcels were excluded from that at the time.
Gotcha.
The actual abatement request is at a later date, correct?
Next meeting.
Okay. Sean?
Move to approve the findings for the ERA district for the Franklin Tech Park.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is also Dana. It would be the tax abatement request. That's all I got here, tax abatement request.
Yes, this is a tax abatement request from Rapid Prototyping and Engineering, which is a local company that moved here in 2018. They are up on Commerce Parkway in a facility that they started out with about 8 employees. They're pretty much doubling that quite a bit. They're growing extensively, doing work there, adding to some of their machine shop and different things that they do. They came before us last week, before the Economic Development Commission last week, with a request for a 7-year abatement. The total that they are investing in personal property at this time is $1,168,000 for new equipment to increase their line. Is Alex, there you are. Yeah, Alex, if you want to come up, this is Alex Martin, who is with Sakoma, which is the parent company of Rapid Prototyping. So if you have any questions about the project itself, Alex can fill those in for you.
Hi, Alex.
And this
Hello, Mayor.
already-
Thank you.
This already is an ERA, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So
This
we-
is already an
We can
ERA.
act on this.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sorry.
Sean, you got anything to add?
I'll let him do his presentation.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just a few comments about the project. I think we presented last week. So we're looking to invest into 2 new fifth axis machines. This would support high-paying jobs. As y'all likely know, skilled trades are a critical focus and something that we're very focused on. So this would allow us to add 2 additional fifth axis machines in our existing facility for some of the work and customers that we're taking on. And then in addition to that, we would be looking to add some quality equipment in the form of a CMM. So that's the scope of the investment that we're looking to do in Q4 of this year.
Yeah, so, and we had talked about it at the thing, and didn't we go with a 5-year?
We did.
Yep. They had requested a 7. We thought with the amount of money and what they're spending would be more appropriate for a 5-year abatement. And they've been really, with the community fees, was 5% for the, 5% community fees. And they've been really good on all their other abatements, getting things in on time, and, they've been a growing company in the community, so we wanted to help them out with a 5.
And it's personal property abatement, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Anything else?
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All, excuse
And
me.
is your, I'm sorry. because
sorry.
The request was originally a 7-year abatement, but are you
5.
moving to approve the 5-year
Yeah.
recommendation from the EDC?
Move to approve the 5-year recommendation from the EDC with the 5% economic development.
Impact. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
So, and Sean, if you don't mind, Sean, I think this, honestly, whenever we're looking at the tax abatements and the question was asked, are we looking at tax abatements a little bit different? I think that answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've been going through, and then we've got we're going to meet here within the next couple of weeks. We got a new program coming in, and we're trying to, really standardize some of the things that we're doing with the amount of money versus the years. And I know Josh and myself and Eric Lugers and the other people on the committee have all talked about it, really. What's the history? How do we standardize it? If they come in with $10 million, if they come in with $20 million, they come with a $100 million project, what are we given? What have we done in the past? And how has that affected the city going forward with those abatements? And so we're really trying to look into that and make sure we're staying in line. So that's why ultimately when they asked for 7, the money wasn't quite there, the jobs wasn't quite there. We felt comfortable with 5 versus going with a 7.
Sean, I think that's a great idea. We talked about that years ago on EDC, and I'm glad you're getting it to that point where, at least you're comparing.
Yeah, we're trying to compare, and if a company's bringing in $35 an hour jobs or $20 an hour jobs, they're 2 different companies with 2 different benefits for the city. We feel that that companies bringing in that $35 an hour job should get maybe a little longer abatement or a better abatement or time, or depending on what it is. Each circumstance is a little bit different, but we also don't want to throw out a 10-year abatement on $1 million.
Of course.
So we are trying to look at that and make sure we're staying in line with all those, with the different companies when they come in.
Good work.
I think it helps with public perception as well, when there's some standardization. so.
Absolutely.
Hey, Sean, is that, getting that information through that new software that we approved a while back and everything?
Yeah, this new software, and I won't be able to, but they're going to do an executive committee meeting and go through, because Dana sent out a report to us over for these, and was like, hey, how do you like it? What else do we need? How do we need to adjust it? How do we need to tweak it? And we all had a bunch of questions, so we're going to sit down with the software manufacturer to kind of get, hey, what goes into this, what goes into that, so that way we know more about what input and what data he's putting into that system that he's spitting out to us.
Thank you, Sean. I think it's good that the public sees there's a lot goes into this than just out the goodness of your heart to give a tax abatement, so. All right, that gets us to the next item, which is always a tough item, and tonight we're introducing our 2027 budget. We've been working on this 3 to 4 months, trying to get where we're at, and this year, so I'm going to read this into the minutes here a little bit. So I am presenting a $23,401,000 general fund budget, which includes the mayor, clerk, treasurer, city hall, council, board of works, fire, police, planning and engineering, community development, city court, the law, cemetery, telecommunication, and the IT department, the fire and police merit. And there's an increase to that budget, which that's the general fund budget, $478,848, which is 2.09%. Total tax-supported budget, which is $35,757,845. This includes the general fund, municipal bonds, the fire, police pension, MVH, LRS, the Parks and Rec, Park Board, EDIT, which is the Economic Development Income Tax, the cumulative capital improvements, cumulative capital development at an increase of, and this is, I just said we had an increase in general fund, 478,000. The overall increase is 585,000, which is a 1.67%. General fund increase was 478,000. The other tax fund, 106. That's where we get the 585,000. General fund income was $23,401,000. The other tax funds, $13 million. Total tax dollars, $36,495,662. Our total budget is $35,757,845, which that leaves $737,817 that is not budgeted. The city's backbone is our 196 employees, and we have increased the wages, just the wages, not counting FICA and PERF, $353,082. That's an average of $1,801 per employee. My goal was $2,000 for public safety, $1,500 for civilian employees. There were 4 above the goal and 6 below it, and the reason for the 10 was either change in the job duties or a position being maxed out for this budget cycle. If you look on the next page, I'm not going to read it all, but it's in the minutes, or it's in the agenda. It's the percentages of what went up, and there's also most of it was salaries. I will say in the Board of Works, we did take some away from the infrastructure. In planning and engineering, we took just a little bit away from supplies. In the police pension, there was a deduction in the retirees' old longevity plan. And then in the MVH, there was a deduction in some improvements. The total that the tax increase was 1.62%. That's really pretty low. I think we've done a good job this year. Public safety is $16,807,332, which is 71.82% of the general funds, $23,401,000. We did add a detectives captain. We added a fire training captain, a parks aquatics maintenance person, and we eliminated a police sergeant's position. That may come back at some point, but at this time, we didn't have that position filled, and we moved that to the detective captain spot. Changes outside of salaries, I'm kind of a little redundant here. Board of Works was infrastructure, planning and engineering was supplies, and MVH was improvement. So last year also, we made cuts to our medical, liability, and workers' comp insurance, and I'm happy to say that there will be no changes to our insurance for the 2027 budget. So a lot of time and consideration has gone into preparing the 2027 budget. This is the 19th city budget that I've been involved with. It's probably Kenny Austin's 24th or 5th. I don't know. It's been there a long time, quarter century, I think. 9 years on the city council and the last 10 as mayor, and I can't remember a general fund budget below 2.09%, and the overall budget at 1.62%. So the 2027 budget will be introduced tonight and available for review. Public hearing will be held on September the 8th, with adoption scheduled for September 21st. So I want to thank everybody that's worked hard to help put this together and take the time and care about our city going to move forward with a responsible way. And I think we've all been good at that, city council, mayor's office, and our department heads, who is really pretty frugal on saving dollars. And is Rick still here? Rick Littleton, who's our IT person, I like to tell Rick that he wouldn't pay a nickel to see an ant eat a bale of hay. So we're all pretty good and tight with the dollars, and I appreciate our council for that. So the budget's introduced. Like I said, you can go to the agenda and pull it up and study it and look at it, and any questions, feel free to ask me. So yeah, it's introduced. Jan, our next item is, does anybody, before we move on, have any questions to me for the introduction? I tried to talk long enough that I'd put you to sleep with no questions. Yeah. All right, next one is, Jan is introducing budgetary ordinance 26-08, amending budgetary ordinance number 26-05. Clerk Treasurer Jan Jones.
Yes, sorry, this is just the annual budgetary ordinance where I take what Steve has changed and put into basically the salary base pay rate schedule, and then also list all of the other benefits that our employees receive. So that's this huge page, that 20-page that we've looked at in years past, and now I think it's a well-run machine on its own, hopefully, that all the changes within the budget are listed on the salary ordinance. And tonight, it's being introduced. The next meeting will be the public hearing, and we can go ahead and vote on it at the September 8th meeting. It doesn't have to be 3 like the budget.
Okay, any questions for Jan? Okay, hearing none, we will go on to other, there isn't any other business, so we'll go.
Mayor, may I ask
Yes, ma'am.
Jan, I know the department heads should, but have we circulated with the department heads to make sure that we've got the benefits right for all of them?
So, yes, nothing benefit-wise has changed from last year.
Okay.
So all of this, nothing is new. I thank you to Chip, if he's still here. He did catch one of my errors on a title, so luckily we got that changed before it was introduced, and we'd have to but anything that's caught between now and the next couple weeks.
We'll just amend it at that point.
Can amend it and still pass, so.
Jan, thank you for doing it, because I find it so much more informative about.
It is. It's a lot
everything.
easier, I think, for employees, myself, my office, everybody to look at this.
And see what they're what we're actually paying.
Yes.
And for the public too, so thank you. It's great, thank you.
Clarifies that.
Okay, anything else? All right, let's start with Josh. You got any comments tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Ken?
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Sean?
Nothing tonight, sir?
Todd?
To the Youth Council, you may think that this might be a little boring with all the numbers tonight, but I assure you, as you start earning income and going, who's taking taxes out of my check? You can now answer that question. All 3 of our daughters asked the same question when they started working, so, and 1.6%, almost unheard of as far as an increase. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Irene?
No, nothing for me. Thank you.
Jennifer?
Nothing for me.
So Addie Jeffrey with the Mayor's Youth Council, what we'd like to do is start with first and last name with everybody. And this year I want to know what grade you're in.
Okay.
All right,
So I'll say mine and then I'll let them do themselves.
there you go.
I'm Addie Jeffrey and I'm a senior this year.
Okay.
I'm Mackenzie Smallberg and I'm a junior this year.
I'm Grace McCullough and I'm a junior. I'm Mia Steinbeck and I'm a junior. I'm Parker Willis and I'm a junior.
Okay, thank you guys for that.
Juniors.
I know you just had your first meeting. Got any kind of updates you want to?
We don't have anything major yet. We just started working on ideas for what we're going to do for the year. We haven't figured it out yet, but we're working on ideas.
I'm sure it will be great when you're done, so thank you. All right, Jan, do you have anything?
I do not, thank you.
Lynn?
No, just to Todd's point, I don't know who that FICA guy is, but I want to give him a piece of my mind.
I just want to thank all of our city workers and our citizens, and also, we need to, when we go to bed tonight, maybe say a little prayer, or think about our friends that, around the state that's had what we had in 2008, so we've been pretty lucky this year. Everybody needs to knock on wood. We've been lucky this year, and the storms seem to went around us, but you know, who knows, it can change the next day. So I like that one, knocking on your head. So anyway, that's all I had to say. Motion to adjourn, anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.